Birding the Palm Beaches is brought to you by Discover the Palm Beaches. Check out thepalmbeaches.tv to learn more. This morning I'm at Art by Nature Garden Center in northern Palm Beach County, and today we're going to introduce you to a very special bird that has a close association with humankind. Let's go birding the Palm Beaches. Palm Beach County is one of the largest and most eco-diverse counties in all of Florida, and the Palm Beaches are a paradise of never-ending outdoor activities and things to do and see. An unmatched landscape of first-rate birding, incredible wildlife management areas, year-round fishing, a multitude of water sports, and exceptional beaches make this the best place to experience Florida. From the Everglades to the Atlantic Ocean, you are sure to find things to do that will stoke your passions and make lasting memories. Here in the Palm Beaches, birding and wildlife viewing is a big deal, even bigger than you might imagine. In fact, birding is second only to beach-related activities as a form of outdoor recreation for both visitors and residents. If you're already into birding, you probably know that Florida and Palm Beach County is considered one of the best places in the world for this activity. South Florida is a birding mecca, from the colorful and distinctive natural populations of wading birds to the specialties like Florida scrub jays and red cockaded woodpeckers, combined with the winter migration of flocks from up north. Palm Beach County is truly a birdwatcher's paradise. You don't always need to be in a wild area to enjoy birding in Palm Beach County. This morning I'm with Tim Wayland, and we're at a garden center in North Palm Beach. What's so special about this garden center?
Well, among many things, I would say that our colony of purple martins.
Well, this is a perfect example of how you can go birding anywhere in Palm Beach County. You can go birding from your home, you can go out into the Everglades, you can bird the coastline, and you can even bird a garden center. Purple martins are the largest swallow in North America, and the name purple martin is a little bit of a misnomer because they're not actually purple, they're more this dark, sort of glossy blue color, the males, and then the females are a lot more drab. They're kind of like a brownish color with a whitish belly. And long distance migrators, these birds, so every year they'll come back here in late January, they'll spend the entire summer here, and then they'll move and they'll congregate in a huge flock, and they'll then make their way all the way down to South America, to the Amazon basin, where they'll spend the winter and then repeat that cycle again the following year. And you're seeing those early birds in January, late January. Those are normally the older purple martins that have nested for a few seasons already. They'll be the first birds to come back. The birds from the previous year will take about 2 to 3 weeks before they'll start coming in, the birds that have just been hatched from the previous year. So that'll be their first trip back to their native area, and they will follow those older birds about 2 to 3 weeks later. Right now we've got a great accumulation of them. We're now in March and they're all flying around their houses. In the mornings they'll get ready for the day's activities and then they'll fly out. And these are birds that do everything on the wing. So when they're out there, they're hunting larger insects like dragonflies and mayflies, And then they're also drinking on the wing. So when they get thirsty, they're going to go down to a nice lake or a pond, and they're going to skim that water with their lower bill, and that's how they drink in flight. And then at dusk, they'll come back to their houses and spend the night in the safety of their apartments. So how long have you been doing this, Tim, and why?
Our colony here is 10 years old. The reason that I do it is to share what I think is a very unusual opportunity for anybody to experience authentic wildlife. And this nature is so readily observable if you have a good purple martin house, and frankly, if you can raise and lower that house. So then you can look inside. What's special about these birds is that when we look inside, and as long as we're gentle and respectful, the birds will not abandon the nest. About 2 months in, they will have completed their nests. I would expect that by the end of March, we'll have probably 75 eggs. Once they start popping, it's like popcorn. And we've got a lot of active nests. We have a lot of healthy birds. And it'll continue into April. I expect that by the end of April, we'll have maybe somewhere around 160, maybe 175 eggs that will have been laid here. Last year, through the course of the season, we had 217. So 15 days of incubation. Almost always they will hatch within 1 to 2 days of each other, and then 28 days of very, very rapid growth.
And it's amazing how there's been this incredible relationship between purple martins and humankind over the years. In fact, the history between humans and purple martins goes right back to the beginnings of America as we know it today. So Native Americans and the first Americans of this country actually used to put up gourds as houses for purple martins long before the first European settlers arrived. And now, because of that relationship over these years, which was then carried on by the generation of John James Audubon and beyond, these birds in eastern North America now are almost entirely reliant on these nesting houses. There's a small population of purple martins on the west coast, and those birds are entirely reliant on natural tree cavities like woodpecker holes. The eastern birds entirely reliant on houses like these, and the western birds still on their native nesting holes. Birds of a feather flock together in the Palm Beaches. Big birds, little birds, pink birds, blue birds. The Palm Beaches is one of the best birding spots in the country. Discover the Palm Beaches and experience one of America's top birding destinations.
There's a gentler side of Florida, just waiting for you to discover it, where America's first resort destination was built and genuine hospitality began. A place with cleaner sands, warmer waters, and fewer crowds. A place different than the rest, one that exceeds, excels, and surpasses all expectation, waiting here just for you. We are the original, the one, the only, the Palm Beaches.
Getting close to birds and wildlife on the water requires stealth. And for me, there's no better way to get close to birds and wildlife on the water than from a kayak. Kayaks can get you into so many different areas: shallow water, canals, sea, ocean, lagoons, creeks like this one that I'm on, where you can get really, really close. The Mirage Drive allows you to do just that on these Hobie kayaks. There's not excessive movement that's going to scare the birds or the wildlife, and you're able to sneak up very quietly, lock onto your subject, and then get those award-winning shots. Birding the Palm Beaches is brought to you by Discover the Palm Beaches. Check out thepalmbeaches.tv to learn more. Less than a month, these birds from being totally helpless, featherless, blind, what we call altricial in birds, when they need all the help and support from their parents. In 28 days, they're going from that helpless little baby to that. Quite phenomenal, and that's because of that protein-rich diet of insects that they're getting stuffed down their gullets every single day. Awesome. Should we go look at a nest?
Yes, let's do it. Let's do it.
So, Tim, we're going to pull this down and look inside, correct?
We sure will.
We have Jada, our junior birder, here to help us lower this down today. Jada, go ahead.
This is a house that is made by the Amish up in Indiana. It's a great house. It's very well made. There are 8 compartments in here. We might point out that these all have what are called starling exclusionary openings. And there are 2 birds that can be a nuisance to purple martin landlords, the starling and the house sparrow. Mm-hmm. And just by the shape of this opening, it will exclude starlings. Have at it, Jada. So we have to do our nest checks today, and this is our D house, and this is D2 here. On Tuesday, when we last looked in here, we had a completed nest. What has happened since?
Wow.
Wow,
3 eggs. Look at that.
Man, oh man, 3 eggs. Check out this nest. It's typical that there are 4 to 6 eggs in a clutch. Sometimes it is 2, sometimes it's 3. We have seen 7, and 8 have been reported. We've never seen that, but almost always 4 to 6. And the mother lays an egg at dawn, 1 at a time, and they don't skip a day. So once they start to lay, it's continuous. And that makes it easy for us, because we're doing these regular nest checks, to figure out when the first lay day was. We also see that there is this circular arrangement of twigs, and it's remarkable that this 2-ounce bird can bring in the sticks and things that are equal to its weight. Then they will gather leaves, often green leaves, because they have some aseptic properties to them. So it helps with the hygiene of the birds and the adults. Going up, 2nd floor.
So remember, if you're in the vicinity, stop by Art by Nature Garden Center and check out the purple martins. We're going to come back in a couple of weeks to check out the hatchlings. Thanks so much, Tim. It was great. We'll see you in a few weeks.
I sure enjoyed it. Thank you, James.
Welcome. This morning, we headed out with Hobie to try out their new Hobie kayaks. But more importantly, we're going in search of one of the most endangered large mammals in Florida, the Florida manatee. The Florida manatee is nearly entirely herbivorous, which means it feeds on aquatic plants, and they're very, very partial to something called seagrass. And that's another very important resource that is vital for us to protect, is for these manatees to be able to feed on seagrass for generations to come. Things like oil spills, pollution in the water, pesticides, these all have the ability to severely deplete the seagrass on which these manatees depend. Now, manatees can feed on up to 1/10 of their body weight in seagrass every day. So you can imagine that a manatee that weighs 1,000 pounds is eating up to 100 pounds of seagrass every single day. You know, manatees are mammals, so they've got these modified forelimbs into these flippers, and their tail has been modified into this paddle-shaped paddle, which they use to swim and propel themselves through the water. They've also got rudimentary hind limbs where the back legs were, and these now in a manatee are just floating bones. Manatees can get up to 1,200, 1,300 pounds. In very rare cases, they can get up to 3,500, 3,600 pounds, up to 13 or 14 feet long. And the Florida manatee is the largest of all the manatee species. In the old days, it's really tragic to think that people used to hunt these for their bones, for their meat, for their blubber. And some parts of the world today, they're actually still hunted and poached, which is really, really sad. But thankfully, places like Florida, manatees are now very, very well protected. So we can hope that future generations, like my kids and their kids' kids, can see manatees for many years to come. I think seeing these manatees by kayak is one of the best ways to view these animals. What I love about these Hobie kayaks is the fact that they're totally quiet. They're also mimicking nature through the Hobie drive. You can see those flippers, almost like a penguin's flippers, even a manatee's flipper. You can see that movement through the water, very gentle. There's no propeller movement here. This is a gentle movement, and you can really get up close to a lot of wildlife like manatees by just going with stealth, going really quietly using these Hobie Mirage Drive kayaks. A fascinating and amazing way to explore the nature of a place like Florida.
There's a gentler side of Florida, just waiting for you to discover it, where America's first resort destination was built and genuine hospitality began. A place with cleaner sands, warmer waters, and fewer crowds. A place different than the rest, one that exceeds, excels, and surpasses all expectation, waiting here just for you. We are the original, the one, the only, the Palm Beaches.
Birding the Palm Beaches is brought to you by Discover the Palm Beaches. Check out thepalmbeaches.tv to learn more. Well, it's been 3 weeks and we're back at Art by Nature Garden Center. Tim, what have we got here?
Well, the great thing about purple martins is that they allow us to look inside. I mean, we have enjoyed the acrobatic flying over the last month or two, but now we can look inside and we can see what changes have occurred in the last 3 weeks. So we've continued to do semi-weekly nest checks, and we know that in this gourd there are some very young hatchlings. And there they are.
Wow.
There they are. Beautiful little atrial young.
They must be like a day old.
These are
they're tiny.
Yes, probably 2 days old.
2 days old.
2 days old. Yep. In fact, yesterday when we did our nest check, we found that there were 4 young and 1 egg. So one is a day old.
A day old. Wow. And when Tim says they're altricial, that means that they're totally dependent on the parents for their survival. They're born helpless, blind, and they need to be fed. So the only kind of instinct that they have right now is to open up those bills and get whatever food is stuffed inside by the adults.
In this gourd, we have put GoPros over the last week or so. Hopefully we captured some video of hatching.
And probably the parents coming in to feed maybe as well.
No doubt.
Yeah.
No doubt, yep.
Right.
And all of the tumult that is caused by the 4 nest mates that are in there, because they just continue to tumble over each other.
Trying to get at that food.
Trying to get at that food, yeah, exactly. Trying to get the best position.
It's quite amazing how the parents are bringing in these giant dragonflies that they seem to be feeding on at the moment, and they're stuffing those into those tiny little mouths.
If we look closely at these hatchlings, we see that their bills are oversized compared with the rest of their body, and they're also distinctly white-lined, which I believe allows the adults to target them better.
And to get that, in the darkness, get that food into the bill.
That's it, just to jam it right in. It takes until they are ready to fledge before their bills seem to be in proportion with the rest of their body. Jada, what surprises me is that over our 10 years of having purple martins, these two gourds are the ones that have attracted all the attention in 10 years. This one is expandable, where a second box of 6 can be put on the left side. It's amazing how quickly they grow. I mean, from hatching.
Wow, look at that.
From hatching to be able to fly in 28 days, and here they are a little more than halfway through development.
Halfway through, 16 days.
Right,
Wow.
right.
So you can see how quickly they develop. In just 16 days, they've gone from these altricial, helpless little babies to their eyes open, very developed, and that's because of the protein-rich diet that they fed on. Those insects are very, very high in protein, very rich, and look at the difference just 2 weeks makes.
So our records indicate that these are about 16 days old. We have these laminated photos of the birds and their development. Let's see how they do match up. So that's that one, and we still have a little bit white patches here. What I always find helpful is to look at the tail and to see how well developed it is, and the patterning. So it's really it's quite similar. I think that I think that we're on target here, saying that it's right in that area there. So I think we're at 16 days. Look at the down that is blowing in the wind here. They're beautiful little birds, huh?
Amazing. Well, fascinating stuff, Tim. We'll be back in about 2 weeks to see the fledgling birds, and hopefully we might even get to see a first flight. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Birds of a feather flock together in the Palm Beaches. Big birds, little birds, pink birds, blue birds. The Palm Beaches is one of the best birding spots in the country. Discover the Palm Beaches and experience one of America's top birding destinations. I'm with Rindy Anderson from Florida Atlantic University, and we're in Jonathan Dickinson State Park. And what she's doing this morning is she is using a parabolic microphone to record Bachman sparrow, which is a very unique bird limited to the pine flatwoods of Florida. Rindy, tell us what you're doing this morning.
Well, I'm trying to locate territorial males that at this time of year are starting to sing, and then once we've located them, we want to record their repertoires and put color bands on them so that we can identify them as unique individuals. And then once we've done that with a number of birds, we can start to do playback experiments using some songs that we've recorded to try to get at how they're using songs for territorial defense and female mate attraction.
So at most times of the year, this bird is very, very difficult to see. The best time to get it is right now, right?
That's right, that's right. They're just starting to really start to advertise their presence to females and set up their territory boundaries. So, for example, the male I was just recording over there sang at the top of a pine tree for 45 minutes non-stop. So he's really trying to let everyone know that this is his territory and he's ready to attract a female.
And so what advice would you give to a birder coming out here looking for Bachman sparrow? Time of year, obviously important,
Right.
March, April, about that time of the year?
Yeah, so there's a really nice dawn chorus of them. So if you want to get sort of a lay of the land of where you can find little pockets of them, if you're here just as the sun is coming up, you'll find them that way. And then, just now, mid-morning, some of the males will start to do their long bouts of territorial advertisement song, and you can really get pretty close to them.
Well, that's great. Rindy, thank you so much for chatting to
Absolutely.
us this morning, and enjoy your birding.
Thank you so much.
Thanks. Man, this is Palm Beach right here. Sailfish capital of the world for sure.
There we go, bring them in. All right.
This is an incredibly rich area, and it's just a couple of miles offshore. The sailfish here, ooh, look at that. There he comes up, ooh, look at that. Some of the best game fishing that you can have in the entire world. By Discover the Palm Beaches. Check out thepalmbeaches.tv to learn more. We've been following the progress of these purple martins at the colony here at Art by Nature Garden Center, and it's been fascinating to watch the process right from laying the eggs through to the babies, and then they get bigger and bigger, and now we've come to the stage where it's fledging time. And this is where the babies will start to leave the nests and head out and begin their journey as young adult purple martins. We've had what, about 240, 250 young this year?
We've had that many eggs, and most of them have hatched, and this is my favorite time of year as a purple martin landlord, when we get to see the outcome of the whole season. And we have begun having fledging. We're here in the middle of May. By our records, about 10 birds have fledged already, but there are so many more inside these nest cavities that are ready to fly off.
Well, we should go and take a look. We're going to go to one of the nests where pretty much we're on 28 days right now at one of these nests, and hopefully we can see some of the youngsters poking their heads out and getting ready for their first flight. Let's take a look. So at fledging time, what we're going to see if we had a camera inside one of the nests is we'll see the young birds starting to exercise their wing muscles a lot. They'll start moving around in that nest a lot more. They'll preen their feathers instinctively a lot. So they start getting those feathers ready. And then when the youngsters are ready, they'll inch their way out of the nest hole. They'll sit on the edge and they'll start flapping and getting those wings ready. And then they'll take that first dive off, and hopefully they'll not hit the ground, rise up, and then probably perch somewhere, fly for a little bit. And then once those youngsters have taken that first flight, they'll generally stick around this area for about 2 to 3 weeks, and going in and out, coming back to the nest, flying around. And then for the next 4 weeks after that, they'll leave and they'll go to what's called a pre-migratory roost site. And that's where all the purple martins will gather, and they'll fatten up for the long journey down to South America. You know, obviously for these young purple martins, flight is going to be probably the most important aspect of their lives. These are incredibly agile hunters that need to twist and turn to catch their aerial prey. We're talking about dragonflies and insects and mayflies that are often high up in the sky and are pretty quick, and so they have to be super nimble, and they fly like fighter jets, banking, turning. They use their tails as rudders to stop and to turn in flight, and then those wings perfectly designed to cut through the air and just really get in effortlessly and grab those insects in those big bucket-like mouths. Well, we've got one of the youngsters in the nest that's about to fledge now, poking its head out, getting ready for that flight behind us over here. It's been totally fascinating watching the entire sort of life history of the young phase of this bird, the purple martin, right from nesting all the way through. It's amazing the work that you guys do here. Thank you so much for letting us be part of this. This is fascinating. It just goes to show you don't need to be in the wildest parts of Palm Beach County to experience the bird life and the magnificent wildlife around us. Remember, this is just a small part of birding the Palm Beaches.